Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Bo Haribo. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotra Satat Srimad Divine Grace Sila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotra Satat Srimad Divine Grace Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavena Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridasa Gaur Ki Jai. Prem Si Kahao Si Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadarara Sivasari Si Gaura Bhaktabhina Ki Jai. Asisi Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Syamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Srivandavan Masura Dham Ki Jai. Si Mayapanavadip Dham Ki Jai. Si Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jai. Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai. Dwakadam Ki Jai. Gangamaya Yamunamaya Ki Jai. Samati Tulsi Devi Bhakta Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vena Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to Sisi Gauranguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 4, Text 35. Is that on board? 35? Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim sarasatim vyasa tato jaya mudirayet nastapaye sabhadrisu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhakti bhavaiti naistiki yam sadhu gata sadasi Ripavo Pisuraripa Pratimana Pakuranti Kimutaye Bhavadrisaha Yam Sadhu Gatasadasi Ripavo Pisuraripa Pratimanam Prakuranti Kimutanye Bhavadrisaha Yam Sadhu Gata Sadasi Ripavo Pisura Ripa Pratimanam Prakuranti Kimutaye Bhavadrisaha. Can someone try? Ladies? Ripavo Pisura Ripa Pratimanam Prakuranti Kimautanye Bhavadrisaha. Thank you. Word for word translation. Translation. There's no papa. Okay. Word for word translation and translation. By Srila Prabhupada. Kija. This confounded child, Srila Prabhupada. Kija. Srila Prabhupada. Kija. Thank you. Yam. Whom? Sadhu Gata Sadasi. In an assembly where saintly persons gather or exalted characteristics are discussed. Ripavaha. Persons who were supposed to have been Prahlad Maharaj's enemies. Such as a devotee as Prahlad Maharaj had enemies. Even such a devotee as Prahlad Maharaj had enemies, including even his own father. It's funny. Happy. Even Suraha, the demigods. The demigods are enemies of the demons. And since Prahlad Maharaj was born in a family of demons, the demigods should have been his enemies. Ripa, O King Yudhishthira, Pratimanam, a substantial example of the best among the devotees. Prakuranti, they make Kim Uta, what to speak of, and ye others, Bhavadrishaha, exalted personalities such as yourself. Translation: in any assembly where there are discourses about sins and devotees, O King Yudhishthira, even the enemies of the demons, namely the demigods, what to speak of you, will cite Prahlad Maharaj as an example of a great devotee. Please kindly respond but repeat. In any assembly where there are discourses about saints and devotees, O King Yudhishthira, even the enemies of the demons, namely the demigods, what to speak of you, will cite Prahlad Maharaj as an example of a great devotee. So there's no purport. We'll go to text 36, is it? Should we go to 36? Okay. Guneralam asankhye Mahatmyam tasya sushate Vasudeva Bhagavati Yasya Nishagitirati. Word for word translation: Gune, with spiritual qualities. Alam, what need? Asankhye, which are innumerable. Mahatmyam, the greatness. Tasha, of him Prahlad Maharaj. Sushate is indicated. Vasudeva, to Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Bhagavati, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yasya, of whom? Neshagiti, natural. Ratihi, attachment. Translation and purport. By His divine grace, His confounded child, Srimad Bhakti Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Who could list the innumerable transcendental qualities of Prahlad Maharaj? He had unflinching faith in Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, and unalloyed devotion to him. His attachment to Lord Krishna was natural because of his previous devotional service. Although his good qualities cannot be enumerated, they prove that he was a great soul, Mahatma. Please kindly respond but repeat. Who could list the innumerable transcendental qualities of Prahlad Maharaj? He had unflinching faith in Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, and unalloyed devotion to him. His attachment to Lord Krishna was natural because of his previous devotional service. Although his good qualities cannot be enumerated, they prove that he was a great soul Mahatma. Purport. In his prayers to the 10 incarnations, Jayadev Goswami says, Kesava Drita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagad Isha Hare. Prahlad Maharaj was a devotee of Lord Nrsimha, who is Keshava, Krishna himself. Therefore, when this verse says Vasudeva Bhagavati, one should understand that Prahlad Maharaj's attachment for Srimadev was attachment for Krishna, Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva. Prahlad Maharaj, therefore, is described as a great Mahatma. As the Lord himself confirms in the Bhagavad Gita 7, chapter 7, text 19, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanavam Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudula Baha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. A devotee of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, is a great soul, very rarely to be found. Prahlad Maharaj's attachment to Krishna will be explained in the next verse. Krishna Grihitatma. Prahlad Maharaj's heart was always filled with thoughts of Krishna. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj is the ideal devotee in Krishna consciousness. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyanajanan Salakaya Saksul Militam Jena Tasmai Si Gaurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Budati Swa Padantikam Vancha Kalpatari Bhajaya Kripasanabhya Evacha Krishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gurudai Puspavanto Chita Chandu Tamonando Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sonyavadi Pachatyadi Satarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Sri Gaura Bhakta Bindu Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we started our day at 4:30 at the time that most people are still sleeping, enjoying sleep. In fact, the early morning hours of the sleep is the sweetest. But the devotees have to wake up. So it's an austerity. To wake up early in the morning to chant Krishna's names is an austerity. To wake up early in the morning to prepare to come to Mangarati is an austerity. So devotees are performing austerities that even we don't seem to recognize what we are doing. But don't be puffed up because of that. So this text has given us some insight about Prahlad Maharaj's closeness to Krishna, his dearness to Krishna. But Krishna mentions in the Gita that we should always think of him. Always. Man manam bhavamam bhakti. Always think of me. Prahlad is, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, is an ideal example of a great devotee, Mahatma. Prahlad also is listed as one of the Mahajans. Mahajans is not just by name, but by accomplishments. One is not, life is not measured by years, but by accomplishments. So Prahlad, even at a tender age, he was a Mahajan, 5 years old. 5 years old. 5 years old, he was recognized as a Mahajan. Why? What made him to be so great? He was fearless. He took risk in preaching. Just like Prabhupada, he took risk in preaching. At old age that he's supposed to just be waiting for death in India, he took risk. He risked his life to come. And he almost died aboard the Jaladuta. So it's a risk. Preaching is a risk. Therefore, we have to be able to appreciate what the devotees are doing. Prahlad is a good example of a reasonable risk taker in preaching. Risk may sometimes be unreasonable. But when risk is reasonable, it is very much recommended. And we see in the case of Prahlad. So he risked his life. He was fearless, a buyer. Everyone is afraid in this material world. Even the animals, they are afraid. The deers, we human beings, we are afraid. That's why we build houses, big mansions, and then fence it around. We are afraid. We may even have guns in our homes, but we're still afraid. We build heavy fences. Sometimes we have some security guard and all those type of things. We are afraid. Fear. Huh? So it's not strange that we should be afraid. It's one of the intrinsic factors of human condition. Fear. That's why we fight. It's part of the human condition. If someone is not afraid, then it's just, maybe it's not a human being. Maybe a human being, fear will be there. Ahara nidra bhaya metunamsha. Bhaya is part of it. So, Prahlad was fearless. Means he's not a human being. He's not a human being. Because even Trump is afraid. The most powerful person on the planet is afraid. He's jittery. Yes, so Prahlad is just an exemplary leader. So here is the gist behind it. Prahlad, he had firm faith in Krishna. He understood, I can never be killed. He understood he was a spiritual soul. He was a spiritual entity. He was not a body. Therefore, he didn't care. In fact, if this knowledge, the Krishna consciousness, if it permeates the whole universe, we could have more terrorists. Because people are afraid of death, okay? But if the terrorists, they can't understand that, well, I'm not this body. I can never be killed anyway. I mean, one of these Greek philosophers, when he was condemned to death, they asked him, in the jury system, in the courts, when you are found guilty, there's something we call allocutus. I think it's a Latin word. No, in other words, what's the last thing you want to say? So this, I don't remember which of these Greek philosophers. But then when it was time for allocutus, the final thing, they asked him, yes, you're found guilty, you're condemned to death. What have you got to say? He said that you cannot kill me. First, you have to catch me. And you cannot catch me? Not to speak of killing me. So the people were surprised. I know some of these Greek philosophers, they read the Vedic literatures. Otherwise, where did he get that information? So the point I'm trying to make here is that if the whole world also become exposed to this philosophy, people could use it also in the wrong way. A typical example is Professor Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer helped in developing the atomic bomb. And when he was detonating the atomic bomb, he quoted the verse from Bhagavad Gita. And the scholars, the scientists, they thought, oh, he's just a genius. No, it's not Oppenheimer's words. I had this issue with my surgeon when I had my eye operated 2008 in New Jersey. So when I was young at Brahmacharya, so I had a retinal detachment. So I went to the New Jersey's University Teaching Hospital for surgery. And so this doctor, he was the head of the department for visual sciences and ophthalmology. And he was the only doctor in the whole of that department who has a PhD. Doctors also can have PhD, but in most cases, they don't go for it. They're satisfied with the money. Some few who are inclined in learning, they go for it. And one of your girls here, Vice President's daughter, she's studying medicine, but right now, she's planning on going to do a PhD. She's so fired up. So this professor, this surgeon, normally if you're going for that type of eye surgery, you're jittery. Retinal surgery, you could lose your eye. So people are afraid. But then I thought, Krishna, why did you bring me here? Just for this eye surgery? Oh, no, I must do something. So I thought, I had to give books to these guys. So I gave him, I think, Coming Back and one of the book. So when I came back for the next appointment before the surgery, he told me, he made a comment that, oh, that book you gave to me was so nice. I said, come on, sir, you've not seen anything. I have even the book that Professor Oppenheimer quoted from. That time I am the destroyer of the world. I said, those words are not Oppenheimer's words. The speaker, I have his book. You know what he said? He told me, hey, I need that book. So I brought him Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, so this knowledge, people could use it in destructive ways. People could use it to rationalize their deviations from, social norms, grand norms, criminal codes, road traffic edicts, etc. So Prahlad took a risk. But the risk was because he understood that he was not a body. The risk was because he had full faith in Krishna. And Krishna will always protect him. So Hiranyakasipu was baffled. A 5-year-old boy? When everyone else, even the demigods, Hiranyakasipu had seized all of their assets. has seized their position. They have dethroned Indra. And his own son becomes an obstacle to him in the process of trying to rule the world. See, when you have to engage in an activity, say governance, you may find it easy, but if you have your own inner circle oppose you, you're in trouble. So, although he was a smart boy, it was a big trouble for Irengasipu. Because his own son is against him. How is he going to drive the change he wants to sustain? And so, the bottom line is that Prahlad took a risk. Even the risk could be seen in his own very life of, even at school. He was sent to school to be trained, to be a political economist or a politician, another demon, or another person with a phenomenological mindset. But each time Prahlad had a little chance, the teacher moves out, finishes his class and moves out, he engages the students. That was also very risky. At that time, preaching Krishna consciousness was banished, was banned. I mean, it's like trying to preach Krishna consciousness in the Soviet Union era. But it was worse than that time. At least, it was worse than that. But Prahlad took a risk. And therefore, Prabhupada, the people who preached during the Soviet bloc, who distributed Prabhupada's book in the Soviet bloc, Prabhupada valued them so much. And Bhakti Swami was one of those prominent persons who penetrated the Soviet bloc with Prabhupada's books, even giving sets of his books to professors and all this stuff. But again, he took a great risk. He told all the story. Sometimes someone will be trailing him, pursuing him, and he won't go his way. Go to one professor's office. So preaching also entails some type of risk. But we should not take unnecessary risk. What is unnecessary risk? If there's a war going on, we should not say, yes, we want to go and distribute food. There are so many people who are hungry for food in the whole world. Why have to do it? A place where there is a crisis. Therefore, the other time we had some some problem in what is the name of this country? Muammar or whatever. And the members of Sabah, I'm also a member of Sabah, the advisory body to GBC. So we need some suggestion that all the devotees in that country, they should be evacuated. Because we lost some devotees. I remember the case in West Africa when some devotees were preaching there, including a white lady. Her father was a medical doctor, as proper disciple. They were preaching in a war-torn country, and they ended up being killed. So, unnecessary risk should not be taken. We have few on this planet. Vaishnavas, they're few. When you go to India, there's so many people who are supposedly spiritualists, but the Vaishnava devotees of Lord Krishna, they're few. So Prahlad took risk, but risk has to be reasonable. Prahlad was such a person, is an ideal preacher, and his glories are sung all over the three worlds because of his preaching mood. He was able to convince his classmates. He converted his classmates. Yeah. And so there are a lot of things to learn from Prahlad's life. A little opportunities that we have, we could transform those opportunities to great accomplishments in Krishna consciousness. Prahlad had little opportunities, but then he transformed them to great accomplishments. He turned the environment into a ground for spiritual positive change. He preached to his classmates. Honestly speaking, he shouldn't have done that because it's risky. A place where Krishna consciousness is banned, distribution of Krishna consciousness is banned, but Prahlad took the risk. And so we are also taking different type of risks. Our risks should be fundamentally reasonable. And if we take unreasonable risk, we could get into trouble. And then we say, oh, Krishna did not protect me. No, Krishna is protected. But we have to use our brain. Why did Krishna give us big brains? We can't choose to do any and everything, and then we say, oh, Krishna did not protect me. We should be rational. We need to use our brains very productively in Krishna consciousness. And the very idea of unnecessary fear should not arise because Krishna is the protector of the devotees. In fact, that is his main business of coming or appearing on this planet 5,000 years ago. He came to be able to rectify the situation where the demons were rocking the earth. And he did that. So we should not be unnecessarily afraid. What is required in our daily activities is to strategize different ways that we can spread Krishna consciousness. In fact, in Germany here, you have a lot of opportunities. As I travel around in Germany, one of the things that you guys need to do is this college preaching. That is where you can recruit young people. That's where, in India, that's a major source of recruitment of young people. Because these people, the students, they are encouraged to finish their studies, and some of them, when they graduate, they move into the temple to become full-time brahmacharis. Yeah. In America, the same thing. And you have many, many universities here in Germany. You have very powerful brains in Germany. I made some references to some German scientists who have developed some models or some theories that we use some of those theories in management science. They're psychological theories. One of them is Kurt Lewin. So these are German scholars. So you have big brains in Germany here. Explore the universities. And it's not difficult. I was speaking with, what's his name? What's the name of that president in Wiesbaden? No. Yeah, I was speaking with him. That he said there's a university nearby. I said, so you should go and preach there. You have a master's degree. I started preaching in the universities. I didn't have a master's degree. Oh, yeah. I was just ordered, hey, Vasudeva, go and preach to the professors. I went with full faith, and it was very successful. So he had a master's degree, and he was telling me, oh, they will not listen to me. People like you that they will listen to. I said, no. They will listen to you. When the students understand that you have a master's degree in social work, they will listen to you. So sometimes the attempt is not made. We just presume that it's not possible. Self-defeating philosophy. But Prahlad did not have a self-defeating philosophy. As a young 5 years old, he could have said, these people, they will not listen to me. Oh, yeah. Like the president told me, they will not listen to me. Prahlad could have also said, these people, they are demons. They are from demonic children from demonic families. They will not listen to me. But no, he did it. He took the risk. He made the attempt. And by Krishna's inspiration, Prahlad was successful in creating a devotional change amongst his classmates. So we should also see Bhakti Swami, he said, my Guru Maharaj, he said, maintenance is Maya. He doesn't maintain temples. He said it's Maya. So we should innovate. And this is one area that, in Germany here, you can really explore. Is far more result-oriented than even distributing books. Because in the schools, these are the people who are going to become your chancellors, your governors, and whatever. And so when you catch one person, it's like a big catch. And they can become your future devotees. So you may have to consider this. So back to Prahlad. Prahlad was very much fearless. Although the conditioned soul is full of fear. And it makes him very distinct. The whole idea about devotional service is also to acquire these wonderful qualities of Prahlad Maharaj without extra endeavor. Because these qualities, they come automatically when we become purified. But Prahlad was purified from birth. And so he had this fearlessness and explorate. He was very innovative. Yeah, he was very innovative. Otherwise, how could he preach to all those demons? He checked when the teacher goes off. He utilized that time. So that is an innovation. No one taught him. He just created that. That's an innovation. As 5 years old, he was innovative preacher. Huh? And Prahlad was a very good time manager. He didn't waste his time for anything. Prahlad, no. He was always thinking of Krishna. He's thinking of what to do for Krishna. So that is an effective time manager. And these days, 5 years old, these days they're playing with smartphones and electronic gadgets. That's what all the time. That's what they are watching. Watching some cartoons and all these things. Prahlad uses time to fulfill Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita that we should always think of him. Not even all the children. These days, everywhere you go, people are so busy on the smartphones. And then they complain, I don't have the time to chant 16 rounds. Okay, you have the time to play with the smartphone. Look, I don't know the case here, but in America, the iPhones in America, the settings are such that at the end of the week, you see the report comes. How many hours you use the screen? How many hours you on the screen? Report comes. You didn't ask for the report. They just send it to you. This is how much time you wasted. So we have to see how we are implementing some devotional change in our lives by following the great examples of Prahlad Maharaj. Let us leave something behind that people will talk about even when we leave these bodies. Prahlad, this Leela took place not thousands of years ago, but ages back. He's still being glorified. He's still being glorified. What can we do that will remain on the planet indelibly, unerased for this long? What is it? What type of achievement? What type of achievement would you obtain that will remain, that will prevail this long? So, yes, we're not saying that devotees should not do something, but you're doing something, try to see how you are also integrating your whatever profession with devotional practice. And that makes the individual very purposeful. Otherwise, the life becomes completely useless. So, Prahlad is a wonderful, wonderful soul. It sets the ball rolling. It's a great, great example. And the emphasis Prabhupada gives in the purport here, text 36, Prabhupada makes a reference to Bhagavad Gita 7:19. How people come to Krishna consciousness, not by chance. Not by chance. He said, Bhavunam Janmanam Ante. After many, many births and deaths, before we finally come to this stage. So we should not think, well, life goes on, huh? This time, everything is too tough for me. Next life, I'll continue. I remember, I like telling this story. I have one Russian professor. She's very intelligent. She has a PhD in some management science field. And then we had to have, I had some programs with some of my Russian friends and aspiring disciples. So we had to have a program for this Russian audience, or Zoom program. So I sent her the information and the link. And so she said, "Oh, Maharaj, this is what I always think. That, next life is there. I don't have to. And I should not kill myself. Next life is there. And when I come, next life, then I can continue." I said, "You're going to be sure of next life." So, Krishna consciousness should not wait for anything. We have come a long way. So we should give our lives to Krishna dedicatedly and be fired up with the spreading of Krishna consciousness. This is how to maintain that glorious end of our existence. A great devotee of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, is a great soul very rarely to be found. Devotees are rare. Devotees, Vasudeva, devotees of Lord Krishna, they're very rare. They are devotees of all these demigods. They are all over the place. There are many. The devotees of Krishna, they're very rare. And so it's a rare breed. I was speaking to one of my friends. He did his master's in Oxford. So I told him that, why don't you try, you're a young man, in middle 20s, why don't you try to be, part of the minority group? He's an English boy. So I said, why don't you try to be part of the minority group? She said, Mara, what do you mean by minority group? Devotees, we are minorities. So we should be staunchly involved in our practice so that we can, our minority is not relegated to the background. We are minority. See, I know the case of the PhDs, they are minority. They are just 1% of the 8.6 billion people on the planet. Devotees, I don't know the statistics. I think we are less than 1%. We are less than 1%. Therefore, we should not play about this. We should we should be serious. We should preach like Prahlad Maharaj and try to see how we can recruit more people into our temples so that they will have a chance to practice Krishna consciousness. Prahlad even took the risk of preaching to his demoniac father. Yeah, not only to his classmates, even to his demoniac father. So, but we should use our number 6. We should use our intelligence in dealing with situations as they arise in terms of how we navigate in our preaching adventures to be able to recruit people in Krishna consciousness. Okay, any comments or questions? Yes, please.
Thank you very much. You spoke about taking reasonable
Risk.
risk.
Yeah.
Can you give some parameters to explain?
I gave the examples that, for instance, some devotees were killed, even in Ukraine. Some devotees were killed. I know one of them is a disciple of Bhakti Swami. They were doing food for life distribution. In West Africa, some devotees, 6 devotees were killed in a war. Recently, there was some crisis in Myanmar or something like that in Asia. We got a notice of that in Sabah. Sabah is an advisory body to the GBC. I'm a member of Sabah. So we quickly moved a motion for all the devotees in that very vicinity to be evacuated. So here is a good example. When there is a crisis, when there is a war, devotees should not hang out there all in the name of distributing food. We have gotten some of our devotees killed through those type of situations. We take risks in preaching, but the risk should be reasonable risk. Don't put your hand into the mouth of a lion and say, well, I'm not his body. That's not a reasonable risk. Yeah. Does it make sense, Mataji?
I'm too stupid to understand that. I understand I should not put my mouth in the hand of the lion, like Krishna put his mouth in the hand of Keshi demon, because I'm not Krishna.
Yeah.
But exactly for me, what would be reasonable? Because, this is like a spiritual warfare happening, where
Yeah.
consciousness is getting purposefully covered and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And everything we do to try to awaken them, like energy healing and coaching and everything. So I'm like in the front row, I'm being attacked in so many different ways, And I'm thinking, okay, how can I still do it in a reasonable way? Like if I put the information out in the internet, it's like, here's the red flag, there's a target, Then with the computer, with the phone, you can be tracked. It's a tracking device.
Sure.
Congratulations.
Sure.
So I just stand in the front row fighting.
Yeah. But see, whether if even you're a politician, people will always attack you. Oh yeah. If you're not a devotee, suppose you're not a devotee, you're a big time politician, people will still attack you. One young boy went to the top of a roof and shot Trump. And he got him in his ear. He got him all. So everywhere on this planet is dangerous. It's full of risk. So our preaching, as we go out to preach, is also risky, but that is a reasonable risk. See, I remember when I was younger and I was a temple president, and even when I was a brahmachari, I will have that type of intense sadhana that at least my first 16 rounds will finish before I go out. Why? Because I thought I may not come back to the temple. I may be gone down, or I may be run over by a car, or something. So I was just prepared for the day. that this is my last time, this is my last chance. So going out is risky. Going to preach, sometimes you go to preach, and then, devotees go to preach at the airport. If sometimes even not at the airport, at public places, they get them arrested. They throw them into jail. So, yes, whatever we do, this is Mrityu Loka. We are Mrityu Loka Basis, residents of Mrityu Loka. Death, planet of death, means planet of risk factors. Planet of risk factors. But we have to see how we don't voluntarily put ourselves in a dangerous situation. In fact, I remember when we were having some major crisis before I took over the presidency of the Tempel, when there was a major crisis. Some people were trying to close down the society in that country. And then the president was too Brahmanical, and then my Guru Maharaj said, hey, Vasudeva, go and deal with the matters. So he put me to become a president. So I remember what some lawyers and some police inspectors, officers, and prosecutors had told me. He said, one of the things I remember was that they said, wherever you may be on this planet as a member of this society, first thing you have to do, follow the laws of the land. Wherever you may be, follow the laws of the land. And sometimes devotees neglect this simple instruction, this simple idea. We sometimes want to do the things against the laws of the land. That's a risky adventure. And some devotees suffer greatly for this. Yeah, we should not say, well, we are devotees, so we can do anything. We have to take cognizance of the laws of the land, take cognizance of the Constitution of Germany. Don't do anything that is against the Constitution. That is unreasonable risk. Srila Prabhupada Cage, Srimad Bhagavatam Cage.
Can I ask one more question, please?
All right. All right.
You spoke about the importance of university preaching.
Uh-huh.
So I just got a diploma of higher education from Chester,
Mm.
but not my bachelor's degree. I did not manage to write the time with the paper. And so I'm thinking, is that still helpful? Because I feel attracted to this university preaching, but somehow you have to have some interest and study there or something. And I'm not living in the UK. I'm living now in Germany. So I mean.
Yeah. Wherever you may be, if you have some skills in education, you have some diploma, you can use it. Because what people want to see is whether you are conversant with the environment, the college environment, the university environment. And if you already done some programs, you can do that type of preaching very boldly. Very boldly. So Krishna has given you those credentials, use it. I remember there was one of my friends in the US. So she she was she registered for a master's degree in one university in Michigan State. So I said, establish a Bhakti Yoga club with the students, president of the student union. She said, oh, I'm a woman, I cannot do that, this and that. I said, come on. You do it for Krishna. What do you mean? You have the skills. You can speak boldly, you can win people. In fact, preaching is for skilled ladies is easier even to make devotees. You know why? Are you hearing? You're hearing me? My Guru Maharaj, he told us, he said, Vasudeva, just make very beautiful, learned women devotees. And the rest will be history. They said the men would just voluntarily join. Oh yeah, so you have skills, you have assets. No, you should use it. In fact, when I come next time, I will ask you whether you have done this or not. Now you're in trouble. You're in trouble to introduce your background to me. Yeah, so we have to see that things move forward. You see, the problem with dealing with university people, professors and students, is that they're very proud. And especially the professors, if you don't have the skills, they will mess you up. I remember one of Saswarup Goswami Maharaj's disciples in America, he told me in Gitanagar, it's a white devotee, he told me he didn't go to college. And he was distributing back to God. So they went to Boston. Boston in Massachusetts, that is the hub of higher education. We have all these Ivy Leagues there, Harvard, MIT, and all this. So they went to Harvard University Park, to distribute back to God. So he told me how he had approached one young man who had highlighted from his car in the park. He pointed back to God. He showed him back to God, and the guy turned to him and said, "Hey, don't you know I'm Howard professor?" He told me he was completely demoralized the whole day. He could not distribute one single magazine. I've seen worse cases than that. And I talk back. I'll give you an example. So I went to meet one head of department for federal university to give me permission to speak to his final year students. And I was pretty young at that time, in my late 20s or early 30s. I don't remember vividly, but I remember that encounter. So I put on a brahmachari dress and put tilak and all these things, and I went to, and that university, that whole of that city is a Christian city. So seeing me is like a big agitation for him. And then requesting that he should give me permission to speak to his students, final year students. He thought, what? No, what is this? So he looked at me like this, up, down, up, 3 times. He looked 3 times. And then he said, "We don't do this here." In other words, get out. Then I snapped. I said, "Excuse me, sir, but I have 25 publications in peer review journals in 3 years." He was shocked. And he said, can you bring some of those publications? Let me see. So the next day, I brought 3 publications from the most reputed university in the country. I showed it to him. We became friends. Then he said very politely, "So when are you coming to make a presentation?" The guy who's just like snobbed me. Now he said, "When are you coming to make a presentation?" Yeah. So yeah, that's what we need to know, because if you don't have the skills, like that devotee, he was completely demoralized. But I've seen worse cases than that. I remember also in India, one of my mentees, she's a surgeon now, eye surgeon. So she told me in Delhi, I used to stay in Delhi Temple for a long time those days. So that time she was in medical school. So she told me that, "Oh Maharaj, I can arrange a program for you to come and speak to the professors in my university. I said, so go ahead and do it. That she has a relationship with the vice chancellor. I said, all right. So be it. Work it out. So I waited to hear back from her. Never. Nothing. So one day we were talking, so I asked, you mentioned to me you're going to arrange some program for me to come to preach to you, speak to your professors, make a presentation to your professors. Oh, she said, oh, Maharaj, it will not work. I said, now you're making your own conclusion. What did your vice chancellor say? You proposed to him, but what did he say? Don't make your conclusions. Tell me what he said. He said, oh, he was asking for CV, curriculum vitae. So I said, oh, that is a very good feedback. So she was surprised. She said, you have one? I said, come on, this is nonsense. You're asking me whether I have a CV? What makes me a scholar? So I sent my CV to her, and the CV had like more publications than the vice chancellor. And so she printed it out, go to show to the vice chancellor, and then she asked that. The vice chancellor asked him, I asked her, so when is he coming to make his presentation? So I've seen all this type of naughty behaviors. So if you have a diploma in education, it's good. You should set up some program on campus, a club. You can call it any name, but liaise with the student union president. They will tell you what are required in establishing a club. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.